All right. Let's dive into this stuff about Ohio Men's Health. Looks like we've got a whole bunch of interesting stuff here about this clinic in Columbus, websites, some patient testimonials, even some YouTube videos.
Yeah, they've got quite a presence online.
Yeah, and they seem to be all about, you know, helping men get their energy back and really improve their quality of life, especially as they get older.
And what I find interesting is they're not just focused on like a single symptom or solution. They seem to be taking this much broader, more holistic approach.
Right. It's not just like, here's a pill, you'll feel better.
Mm-hmm.
They're really digging into, why a guy might be feeling off in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
And one of their big focuses, from what I've seen, is testosterone replacement therapy, TRT as they call it.
Right. And, as men age, their testosterone levels naturally decline, which can lead to a whole bunch of effects. Fatigue, low libido, trouble building muscle, even mood changes.
Yeah, it can really impact a guy's overall sense of well-being.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because they really emphasize that TRT isn't just about, like, hitting a specific number on a blood test.
Yeah, it's not a one-size-fits-all approach. It's about finding what's optimal for that individual.
And they really make that clear. Talking about personalized treatment plans, frequent lab work, open communication with patients to really make sure they're seeing the benefit.
Exactly. It's about restoring balance and optimizing well-being, not just, treating a deficiency.
Okay, so that makes sense. But where does this whole holistic approach come in?
Well, they go beyond just the physical aspects of men's health. They delve into some areas that I think are often overlooked, particularly when it comes to men.
Like what?
Well, for instance, they talk about this thing called dysthymia.
Dysthymia, what's that?
It's kind of like a low-grade, persistent, depressed mood. It's not quite full-blown depression.
So like a milder form.
Exactly.
Yeah, interesting.
And in one of their YouTube videos, they share a pretty surprising statistic, actually. They say over 70% of the men who come to their clinic have been misdiagnosed with depression, when their low mood was actually stemming from low testosterone.
Wow, 70%. That's a lot. It makes you wonder how many men are out there just kind of struggling with this and not getting the right help.
It really highlights how crucial it is to consider hormonal imbalances when addressing mental health, especially in men.
It's like they're saying, hey, don't just brush off those feelings of, blah or lack of motivation.
Yeah.
There could be a real treatable reason behind it.
And it all ties back to their holistic approach. Because they don't stop there, they offer a whole range of other services as well.
Like what kind of services?
Peptide therapy, weight loss programs, even nutrition and exercise coaching.
It's like a one-stop shop for optimizing men's health and well-being.
You could say that.
And I noticed they even have a program specifically for weight loss using this medication called semaglutide. You heard of that?
Yeah, semaglutide is interesting because it was initially developed to treat type 2 diabetes. But research has shown it's also very effective for weight loss.
How does it work?
Well, it mimics a hormone called GLP-1, which helps regulate appetite and blood sugar levels.
So it's not just about suppressing your appetite, it's actually working with your body's natural systems.
Exactly. And they seem to be really at the forefront of using this medication to help men achieve their weight loss goals safely and effectively.
It's really fascinating how many different aspects of men's health they address. But let's go back to their TRT program for a second, because they really hammer home these 3 points: results, safety, and affordability.
And they don't just talk about it in general terms, they provide concrete examples of how they achieve those things.
Yeah, like what?
Well, for example, they talk about their thorough testing process. It's not just about measuring testosterone levels. They look at other hormones too, like estrogen and thyroid hormone.
To get a complete picture.
Right, and then they do frequent lab work to monitor patients' progress.
And adjust treatment as needed.
Exactly.
And they also talk a lot about open communication, encouraging patients to ask questions and express any concerns.
Which is so important because it shows they're not just treating a number on a lab test, they're treating a person.
Building that relationship.
Exactly, a relationship based on trust and transparency.
And on top of all that, they claim to be significantly more affordable than other TRT providers in the area.
Yeah, they have this all-inclusive pricing structure that covers everything. Consultations, medications, lab work, follow-up appointments.
Wow, that's pretty remarkable considering how extensive healthcare can be.
It is. They even say in one of their videos that their TRT program costs less than what many men spend on their daily coffee habit.
That's a great way to put it in perspective.
It really highlights their commitment to making this type of care accessible.
Okay, so we've established that they're big on TRT, but what about the guys who are wondering if it'll help them build muscle? Can you build muscle on TRT?
Yeah, that's a question that comes up a lot, and they address it head on in one of their videos. The short answer is yes, but it's not as simple as just taking testosterone and suddenly getting ripped.
So no overnight Hulk transformations.
Right, exactly. TRT can definitely support muscle growth. It creates a more favorable hormonal environment, but it's not a magic bullet. You still need to put in the work at the gym, eat a healthy diet, get enough sleep.
All the things that are important for muscle building anyway.
Exactly.
But they do draw a clear distinction between TRT and anabolic steroids, which are often misused for muscle gain, but come with a whole host of risks.
Right. They emphasize that TRT is about optimizing your natural potential, not about trying to achieve some superhuman physique.
So it's about setting realistic expectations and understanding that TRT is a tool that can be helpful, but it's not a shortcut.
Precisely. And they tie this back to their holistic approach, emphasizing that building muscle isn't just about hormones. It's also about nutrition, exercise, and recovery.
Speaking of their holistic approach, they have this thing they call the 4 pillars of health. Do you remember what those are?
Yeah, hormones, nutrition, exercise, and sleep. They believe these 4 pillars are interconnected and essential for optimal health and well-being.
Makes sense. You can't just focus on one and ignore the others.
Right, they all play a role. They compare it to building a house, you know? If you have a weak foundation, the whole structure is compromised, no matter how fancy the roof or windows are.
That's a great analogy. It really highlights the importance of taking a comprehensive approach to your health, rather than just trying to fix one symptom or issue in isolation.
And that's what sets Ohio Men's Health apart. They're not just treating symptoms. They're addressing the root causes and empowering men to take control of their health journey.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground in this first part of our deep dive into Ohio Men's Health. We've learned about their focus on personalized TRT, their attention to often overlooked issues like dysthymia, and their commitment to a holistic approach to men's health. What do you think is the most important takeaway so far?
Well, I think what strikes me most is their emphasis on empowering men to take an active role in their own health. You know, they're providing information, resources, and support. But they're also encouraging men to ask questions, advocate for their needs, and make informed decisions about their well-being.
Yeah, they're not just saying, here's the answer, take this. It's
Yeah.
more like, let's figure this out together. Let's get you feeling your best.
And that's a really powerful message, especially for men who might be hesitant to talk about their health concerns or to seek help.
Right. It's like they're creating a space where men can feel comfortable and supported in addressing those issues.
Absolutely. And I think that's a message that a lot of men need to hear.
Okay, so we've learned a lot about their approach to TRT and how they emphasize a holistic view of men's health. But there's so much more to uncover about Ohio Men's Health. When we come back, we'll delve deeper into their other services, like peptide therapy and those weight loss programs. So stay tuned for more on Ohio Men's Health.
Looking forward to it. You know, before the break, we were talking about how Ohio Men's Health really seems to empower men. And it made me think about how men often struggle to, prioritize their own well-being.
Yeah, it's like it's not really manly to admit you're not feeling 100%.
It's the societal norm, right? This idea that men should just tough it out, ignore their health issues, keep pushing forward.
And Ohio Men's Health is like, no, it's okay to acknowledge you're not feeling your best. It's okay to ask for help. It's actually a sign of strength to take care of yourself.
And they're backing that up with all these services that go beyond just treating symptoms. They're addressing the underlying factors that contribute to men's health and well-being.
Like we were talking about before the break, right? Peptide therapy, weight loss programs, nutrition, and exercise coaching.
Exactly. It's all about creating a personalized plan to help each guy reach his full potential.
It's really impressive.
And one thing that stood out to me was how they emphasize the connection between physical and mental health.
Like with dysthymia, right?
Yeah.
It's so interesting how they're bringing attention to this condition that can be so easily missed.
You know, in one of their YouTube videos, they share this story about a patient who'd been struggling with fatigue and low mood for years.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he'd been to multiple doctors, tried different medications, but nothing seemed to help.
So he went to Ohio Men's Health.
Exactly. And they did a thorough evaluation, discovered he had low testosterone, and started him on TRT.
And what happened?
It made a huge difference. Within a few weeks, he started feeling more energetic, his mood improved, and he was able to, engage more fully in his life.
That's amazing.
He said it was like a fog had lifted and he finally felt like himself again.
Wow, that's a powerful testament to how much hormone imbalances can impact a man's well-being.
It really highlights the importance of finding healthcare providers who take a holistic approach and look beyond just the surface symptoms.
So true. So let's talk more about some of those other services they offer. What about peptide therapy? We touched on it earlier.
Right, so peptides are basically short chains of amino acids, which are the building blocks of proteins, and they act as signaling molecules in the body.
Signaling molecules.
Yeah, they regulate all sorts of functions: hormone production, tissue repair, immune response.
So it's like they're giving your body instructions.
Exactly. And what's fascinating is there are hundreds of different peptides, each with its own unique set of effects.
Wow. So how does Ohio Men's Health use peptides in their treatment plans?
Well, it really depends on the individual patient's needs and goals. But for example, they might use peptides to boost testosterone production, improve sleep quality, enhance cognitive function, or promote fat loss.
So many different applications.
Yeah, and they're very transparent about the science behind it. They have detailed information on their website about the different types of peptides they use, how they work, the potential benefits and risks.
I like that. It gives patients the information they need to make informed decisions.
It's about creating a partnership between the patient and the provider.
Okay, so we've talked about TRT and peptide therapy. What about their weight loss programs? We mentioned semaglutide, but what else do they do?
They take a multifaceted approach, combining medication like semaglutide with lifestyle modifications like nutrition and exercise coaching.
So it's not just a quick fix, it's about making lasting changes.
Right. They really emphasize building healthy habits and developing a positive relationship with food and exercise.
Do they offer support along the way?
Oh, absolutely. They have a whole team of registered dietitians and certified personal trainers who work with patients one-on-one.
That's great. So you're not just left to figure it out on your own.
Exactly. You have experts guiding you and cheering you on.
Now, we've been talking about all these different services, but I want to go back to something we mentioned earlier. Their emphasis on results, safety, and affordability.
Right. They're very data-driven in their approach. They use objective measures like blood tests, body composition analysis, and symptom tracking to make sure the treatments are working.
So it's not just about how you feel, it's about seeing tangible progress.
Exactly, and they're constantly evaluating and refining their protocols to ensure they're providing the best and safest care possible.
And they're upfront about the cost.
Oh, absolutely. They have a clear pricing structure for all their services. And they work with patients to understand their insurance coverage and explore financing options if needed.
That's great. It takes away some of the stress that can come with medical care.
They want their patients to feel confident and informed every step of the way.
Okay, so we've covered a lot in this part of our deep dive. We learned more about peptide therapy, their weight loss programs, and their commitment to evidence-based care.
And I think we're seeing a pattern here. They're combining cutting-edge science with personalized attention and a holistic approach.
It's really a unique model of care.
It is, and I think it's making a real difference in the lives of men in the Columbus area.
I'm excited to learn even more about Ohio Men's Health in the next part of our deep dive. We'll be exploring some of the deeper philosophical underpinnings of their approach and how they're changing the conversation around men's well-being.
It's going to be fascinating.
This deep dive into Ohio Men's Health has been really eye-opening.
Yeah, it's got me thinking about how we view men's health in general.
Right, like before the break, we were talking about how they're challenging those old ideas of masculinity. The ones that keep guys from taking care of themselves.
It's almost like they're saying, hey, being healthy isn't just about living longer, it's about living better.
It really is about quality of life.
And recognizing that taking care of yourself isn't selfish. It's actually a way to show up better for the people and things that matter to you.
You can't pour from an empty cup.
Exactly.
So you got to take care of yourself first to have the energy and vitality to give to others.
And Ohio Men's Health seems to get that. They're encouraging men to prioritize their health, not just for themselves, but for their families, their communities, their work.
Okay, so we've talked about the why of their approach, but what about the how? How do their 4 pillars of health actually play out in their treatment plans?
Well, they integrate them into everything they do. Like with TRT, they don't just prescribe testosterone and call it a day. They also guide you on lifestyle changes that support healthy testosterone production naturally.
So it's not just about medication, it's about a whole lifestyle shift.
Exactly. They might recommend things like regular exercise, stress management, a good diet, and enough sleep.
And they even have recipes and meal planning tips on their website.
Yeah, they really cover all the bases.
In one of their YouTube videos, they talk about finding your why when it comes to making those lifestyle changes.
Oh, I remember that.
They say it's got to be more than just wanting to lose weight or have more energy. You need a deeper reason, something that will keep you motivated.
Right. It has to connect to your values and your goals.
Why do you want to be healthy?
Exactly.
What are you trying to achieve?
And once you find that deeper motivation, it becomes easier to make those changes and stick with them.
Because it's not about willpower anymore. It's about alignment with your values.
It's about making choices that support the life you want to live.
You know, another thing that stands out to me is their emphasis on community.
Yes. They really foster a sense of connection and support.
They have a really active online community where patients can interact, and they even host in-person events and workshops.
It's so smart because it creates this sense of belonging, which can be really motivating.
And it helps men realize they're not alone in this.
Absolutely. It normalizes the conversation around men's health.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive into Ohio men's health.
We really have.
What do you think is the most important message they're sending to men?
I think it's simply this. You deserve to feel your best. It's okay to put your health first. And you don't have to go it alone.
I love that as a message of empowerment and hope. And for anyone listening who's intrigued by what we've discussed, you can find Ohio Men's Health online at columbusloat.com or give them a call at 330-662-1030.
They offer a free consultation so you can explore your options.
And remember, taking care of yourself is a sign of strength, not weakness. It's about being the best version of yourself for you and for everyone around you.
Well said.
That's all for this deep dive into Ohio men's health. We hope you found it informative and inspiring.